Before I start, first this. I want to believe that Mats in the UK, he pays very well attention when he watches my videos, because one day I said this. I'm doing mechanical stuff for more than 40 years now, and I still don't have the right tool to install this kind of clips. And the result is, he did send me a box. And in the box there was a whole collection of install circuit things, tools, and some special sizes long drills, and even a bigger one, and 4 ball hand mills. Now these start to look a little bit like an overdose, but whatever. And it's not the first time that Mats in the UK sent me a bunch of very useful toys. So Mats, again, thank you very, very much. Right, in this video, no machining, no drums, but history. And I'm talking about ancient history. I've always been fascinated by megalithic structures, like for example in Peru, or why not Egypt is a very known example. And if we go even further away in history, we find, for example, menhirs and dolmen, like this one in Ireland, or India, South Korea, Germany, Russia, Bulgaria, and of course many other places. The problem is, of course, that if I would like to visit, I have to jump on a plane and go, for example, to India or Russia. Now, traveling to India or Russia or wherever, that could be very expensive and time-consuming just to visit a pile of stones, right? But on the other hand, what could be very doable is, for example, to jump in my car, drive 10 minutes and visit this one. This one is cost effective and also time effective, of course. This dolmen is part of a whole collection of old structures, and it is situated the most south position of a kind of alignment that in total is more or less 8 kilometers, and it goes from the north-northeast to the south-southwest. The total length of this construction is almost 12 meters in length and more or less 5 meters in width. It was built in a period somewhere between the Stone Age and the Bronze Age. But because here in the region there's no copper, or almost no copper and no tin, I don't believe it was already Bronze Age. This thing is Stone Age. And I heard that it even predates Facebook. This one is the capstone on the backside of this dolmen. And I don't know how much it weighs, but sure, several metric tons. How did they move this thing? For example, this one, more than 2.5 meters. Or this one, that looks a little bit like a seed. The idea that this thing is built more than 5,000 years ago. It predates the wheel. It predates the handwriting. It also predates the pyramids in Egypt. It's of course also a bit less spectacular than the pyramids, but still predates. So how did they manage to cut the hole here in this stone? Almost no tools, so I suppose stone on stone, that's not a possibility. When I come to this kind of places and I close my eyes for a moment, I see people in hides and primitive clothing around the fire, carving wood sticks to make tools, making food on the fire. And of course also druids and maybe some witches that can do magic. Why not? I hope it's normal. And here's another one. This one is the second structure in the whole series here. First we were Opanje and now we are in Weris. A detail I like very much in this one is that to prevent the capstone from wobbling, the builders installed these wedges. And 5,000 years later, they're still here. As you can see on the back side of this one, there are 3 menhirs still lying on the ground, because of course part of all this has been restored. And they're still lying here because nobody knows yet the exact location of these stones. I also brought an old map and both dolmen are marked on it. But there's no more information. What I think is also a fascinating fact is that how they managed to align these things. They hadn't a compass, they hadn't the tools to do it, but they did. So this is of course a mystery. And at the bottom here we can see a little bit the concrete, because this was of course part of the restoration project. Any idea how they managed to move this thing over here? I don't. There are of course a lot of theories about moving stones. One of them is, for example, using wooden sleds. A sled and then the stone on top and you drag it. Now one little detail they always forget to mention is how do you put the stone on the sled before you start dragging. Another theory is the use of the A-frame. If this is the stone we have to move, we install an A-frame in an angle and then attach ropes from here under the stone and pull the frame that way. And while moving, it will lift the stone a little bit and move it a bit forward. My question is now, how do you put ropes under the stone? A system that could maybe work if you have many people with many brute force and very strong ropes is of course to put first 2 stones dressed up and then fill the whole thing with dirt, and on this dirt you can drag the capstone, put it on here and then dig the dirt away, and this stone will lower down on top. Easier said than done, right? And of course many other theories, but no proof. So the mystery remains. For me, not knowing how they build it is just part of the fascination. It's part of the mystery, but only the idea that we can touch the same stones that these people touched 5,000 years ago is complete magic. Right, that said, as you can see, I didn't go in too much detail because I invite you to visit the website that talks very well about this topic, our local old stuff. The website is made in 4 languages, and as always, link in description. So have a nice visit.